So this is the SP temperament, also known as action seekers. So again, sensing indicates a preference for a practical focus of attention on facts and details. Sensors have a here and now realistic focus of attention. And perceiving indicates a preference for deferring judgments, taking in more information, and keeping their options open when dealing with the outer world. Okay, this is how they prefer to make decisions, or structure their outer world. They don't like rules, routines, or structured tasks, completely opposite to the SJs. So you can see how there's some differences here. They both have sensing in common, but the perceiving and judging are very different ways of structuring their outer life. So to esteem themselves, artisans need to be free and be free to act on their impulses, and to be spontaneous and to live in the moment. This is what's most important to an artisan. To be able to test limits and take risks to see what they can pull off or what they can get away with. They need to demonstrate skillfulness and resourcefulness, even gracefulness, to make an impact or impression, or to get a rise out of people or a result from an action. And they need variety, fun, excitement, stimulation, and freedom. Now here's a typical cartoon that would relate to the action seeker or the artisan. Dave always runs the best meetings. So again, it's much more laid back. You want to be out on a boat in the nice weather, you know, rather than in a board meeting in a stuffy room wearing a suit and tie. No way, you know, let's wear our Hawaiian shirt, flip-flops, and shorts. Probably drinking alcoholic beverages as well. Alright, artisans' values. What do they value? Action and adventure, of course. Humor, fun, and playfulness. Being optimistic. They value seizing opportunities and being resourceful. They like freedom, mobility, and independence. Yes, they like relationships too, but within that relationship they're going to need a lot of freedom. Don't tie me down, pin me down, tell me how to live my life. Okay? They like skillful performance and gracefulness. Some of the best athletes are artisans because they're very in the moment and they love to get an action or get a result from an action, and they love taking chances. Again, they love variety and excitement. A lot of times you'll find people that are action seekers doing many different things in a day. Fraternal relationships. Sensual pleasure and thrill seeking. So a lot of the people in the X Games, a lot of the athletes in the X Games, or the best of them anyway, would be artisans. Risk-taking, beating the odds, testing limits. Here's an example, another cartoon of action seekers or artisans. What Sue packs into a day would be enough to fill a whole month for most people. Again, lots of things going on, lots of action, variety. So this creates some natural gifts and talents that artisans have. What are they good at? They're great at acting and reacting quickly, so they excel in all kinds of emergencies. And very oftentimes you will find them as EMTs, emergency medical technicians, or in some way involved in things that require quick thinking, spontaneity, and emergencies. They're very good at adapting to change. They adapt very well, and they're very resilient. They have great resilience. They bounce back from things very quickly too. They're excellent at troubleshooting, practical problem solving. Because they're constantly able to adapt to the situation, they also notice where things can go wrong. And because they're sensors, they're very tuned in to minute changes in the real world. Okay, so they're very good at troubleshooting things. Negotiating, getting the best deals. Again, because they love to pull off and see what they can get away with, negotiating is really seeing what you can get away with financially, you know. Skill with their hands, using tools, implements, instruments, operating machinery, and equipment. Again, they absolutely excel with their hands. And so any kind of construction work or building stuff, or even fine motor stuff like working on a watch, needle, sewing, anything like that. And sports, all kinds of sports that require a racket or a ball or anything like that, they're excellent with. So more natural gifts and talents, getting the greatest result with the least effort. So this is the type, again, that wants to have fun and wants to get results, but doesn't want to go through the arduous, boring, hard work of doing it. They want to be able to get the greatest result for the least amount of effort. Humor. Humor is a big part of artisans. Oftentimes you'll find them telling jokes, cracking jokes, making light of a situation that's sort of serious or stressful. This is just part of the way that they are. Improvising, so making do, working with what's possible. They're very good at that. Living life in the moment, making life fun. Outstanding sensory perception as well. Okay, so they're very great sensory intuitiveness. Alright, so here's a typical artisan having a nice fun day skiing. Go for it, have no fear. And some of them really have no fear, it seems like. And of course, all of this fun-loving, excitement, stimulation-seeking can have its downside as well. So at their worst, they can be easily distracted and are often labeled ADD or attention deficit disorder when they're children, unfortunately. But artisans really need that, they need to understand how something works in the practical world. So anything that's theoretical or boring, lectures, that kind of stuff that really doesn't turn them on is going to put them to sleep. They can be overly impulsive, acting in the moment. They can fail to prepare, plan long-term, or set goals. They can ignore or defy rules and be mischievous. So exactly opposite to the SJs. And of course, what's interesting is you'll often find SPs or artisans married to SJs, the guardians, because opposites tend to attract. And they can be pranksters and practical jokesters. They can overindulge their senses and be promiscuous, again, because they like to act on impulse in the moment. Sometimes that can get them into trouble. They can con or take advantage of people or situations, again, trying to get the best deal that they can or get the most that they can. They can be flaky and irresponsible. They can forget promises or miss important events. They can be neglectful of obligations and commitments. Okay? Remember, our wedding is tomorrow. Okay, honey. So you can guess which one's the SP, right? The artisan. Here's another cute one. But you promised. I did? What did I say? So again, artisans oftentimes will forget promises and commitments, and they're more in the moment. It's more about having fun, living life as it comes, and so being structured and bound by rules and obligations and time commitments and all of that stuff doesn't appeal to their natural personality. So again, we come back to this cartoon that I showed you earlier with the guardians, and now you can see why that little boy might be an artisan. Another cute cartoon. The artisan is saying, let's go to the amusement park, which sounds fun to him. And the other kid, who's probably an idealist, says, no, I want to stay home and read today about the meaning of life. And again, as I was saying, oftentimes artisans are labeled as ADD, but really the truth of the matter is they don't care so much about the value of inner reflection. That puts them to sleep. Other types love that. But this type, no, this temperament is not so interested in the value of inner reflection, I'm sorry. One more. I sublet my room for 2 months. I'm quitting school and going on a safari. So this would be a typical action for an artisan. So, when life gets too monotonous, too boring, too stale, then they've got to just change it, mix it up, throw out what's not working, and just go for something new. We've been together for over 6 years. How about making a commitment? And so here you see an ESTP going, yikes, commitment, ah! Alright, so again, there are different kinds of artisans. There are extroverted artisans, which are the ESTPs and ESFPs. There are introverted artisans, which are the ISTPs and ISFPs. The thinking artisans, which are the ESTPs and ISTPs. And the feeling artisans are the ESFPs and ISFPs. And some famous artisans, again, you should recognize these people as artisans just by their personalities. Rodney Dangerfield, Madonna, Jack Nicholson, Donald Trump, Magic Johnson, John F. Kennedy, Vince Vaughn, Will Ferrell, Elvis Presley, Marilyn Monroe, and Hugh Hefner. So you can see that all of these people have sort of like an adventure-seeking, fun-loving side, and they can buck the system a little bit and be a little irreverent and like telling jokes and like getting away with what they can and basically being themselves fully and living in the moment, being spontaneous. Okay? And that's our artisans.